everyone, and welcome to the daily newspaper analysis for 9th and 11th October. So let's see, we have only two articles today. Let's see what is the article from the Hindu. Questions from the QES data. So this is again about the employment survey data. So what has been the recent outcomes of the employment survey data, and what are the futuristic points that we can consider here have been discussed. The second article is from the Indian Express, which is titled as Karnataka anti-gambling law revamped. So what basically is the Karnataka anti-gambling law and what changes have been brought through this would be discussed here. This newspaper analysis is presented by me. My name is Sheva Khan. I am a BA LLB law graduate and I have completed my law degree from Uttaranchal University in the year 2019 with a gold medal in my batch. I've also been a national debater and a public speaker, and here at LawSeco, I'm working as the manager for current affairs vertical. If you wish to connect with me, you can find me on my Twitter as well as LinkedIn handles. The links to both are available in the description box below. This is the multiple choice question from yesterday's discussion. Let's see what is it. Which of the following articles is related to Panchayati Raj? Your options are Article 243, 324, 124 or 73. You can put down your answer in the comment section below. This is the descriptive question for the day. Discuss Karnataka's anti-gambling law. So let's start a discussion for the first article of the day, which talks about questions from the QES data. So the Labour Bureau recently has released the All India Quarterly Establishment-Based Employment Survey for the first quarter of 2021. So the survey covers all establishments that employ 10 or more workers in the organized sector. So let's see that what has been dissecting the QES data, or what have been the outcomes of the particular data. So the simple growth rate for the 6th EC, that is the economic census, is stated to be at 38.13%, and the compound annual growth rate, which is a far more reliable depiction, places the growth rate at 3.13%. So here, again, we can see the simple growth rate is at 38.13 and the compound annual growth rate is at 3.13. So it has been previously held in various reports, including the government ones, that the small scale suffered more than the big industries. We have seen that the people who were already rich, who already owned with the larger industries, have actually benefited in the terms of COVID-19. But it has not been the same case when it comes to the small scale industries, because they have actually suffered a lot of harm. So according to the QES, nearly 75% of the establishments employ less than 40 workers. And this puts to the question the credibility of two statistics. Firstly, 87.5% of the workers were regular, with 2.1% were casual workers. And excluding the health and financial services, 66 to 86% employees received full wages, including the construction, health services, and the financial services. Yes, of course, I'm totally understanding the point that there is actually a lot of data to take in and a lot of facts to take in. But what we generally need to understand is the trend that is going on. So we need the unit level data to assimilate the numbers in disaggregated areas, and it is also baffling and confusing as to why the Labour Bureau initiated segmented analysis instead of a high-frequency labour market information like advanced countries. So basically what has happened is that the major 9 sectors which we have the manufacturing, construction, trade, transport, education, health, accommodation, and restaurants. Then we also have the ITs and the BPOs and financial services. They employ 85% of the total employment established. And the data was either collected through telephonic conversations or through basic visits. So the report blatantly states that the reports are based on information that has not been verified. So this actually brings us to a question as to how much can we really rely on such reports and data. So the objective of QES is to help the country form a strong national policy for employment, and let's see how much is it possible in the coming times. The next article we have is about the Karnataka anti-gambling law, which has been actually revamped and it has been actually, revised now. So Karnataka has passed a bill for amending the Karnataka Police Act 1963 to ban all forms of gambling, even online. So let's see that what has been, what amendments have been brought to the law on which we talk about the gambling. So the state government cited that gambling dens could not be raided by the police without a written order from the magistrate, as it is a non-cognizable and bailable offence. So till now, please consider we're talking it till the time before it was revamped. Okay. So the gambling was considered to be as a non-cognizable, and that is why a bailable offense. And that is why if the addas, generally the addas or the gambling dens, what we call them, they could not be raided by the police unless there were written orders from the magistrate. Also, the court also wanted to know the standing of the government on online betting due to the multitude of public interest litigations. Now, with the passing of this particular bill, the gambling has now become cognizable, and that is why a non-bailable offense, and that is why the police can directly take action against it even without prior orders of the magistrate. So the law covers all forms of gambling with exception of horse racing and lotteries. Please consider here that all forms of gambling are banned under this new law except without, we have to be exclusive of horse racing as well as the lotteries. So the law enhances the prison time of the owners of the gambling centers from 1 year. Now it has been increased to 3 years, and fine has been increased from 1,000 rupees to 1 lakh rupees. So that is why it's definitely now we can, believe, or we can actually expect that lesser chances or people would indulge lesser into the problem, into the this entire issue of gambling. So the minimum punishment is now 6 months of imprisonment, and earlier it was only 1 month. And as if we talk about the fine, so the minimum fine is of rupees 10,000 now instead of earlier, which was just rupees 500. So definitely aggravated punishments, be it in terms of fine or in terms of imprisonment, also will make this entire problem or this entire act of gambling more stringent. So every consequent offense will increase the fine amount by 5,000 rupees and the imprisonment terms by 6 months. For example, if once we are found gambling and then again also consequently we are found gambling, so it would increase the amount of fine by 5,000 rupees and jail term by 6 months. So let's talk about the future ahead. So it is wise to note that a similar law enacted by Tamil Nadu was struck down by the Madras High Court. Let's see what would be the future for the Karnataka law. The online gaming industry has not received the notification kindly, where one stated that the move by Karnataka lacks any judicial mind. So maybe we cannot really expect that it might have the similar effect on the online gaming as well. And the industry is already well self-regulated on this front, and there are active regulators placed by the government too. So there is also one contention that says that we did not really need this law in specific, and we already had enough laws that were there, more than enough to regulate the already occurring gambling cases. So that was all for the day. Thank you so much for joining in, and please do not forget to catch the podcast discussion of the same analysis on Spotify, Google, Apple, as well as Anchor Podcast. Also, if you wish to download the PDF of today's slides, you can join our Telegram channel. The link is there in the description box below, or you can scan the QR code that you can see on your screens right now. Also, please do not forget to follow us on our Instagram channels for Judiciary, CLAT, UGCNet, as well as Law Finance. Thank you so much.